let's look at this. The report this week were that Tony Khan will be booking Ring of Honor as well as booking AEW, of course. Do you think that... So Tony Khan confirms that he'll be booking Ring of Honor.
Go back up and show that picture. That is definitely not a picture of a guy not on drugs.
Oh, without that.
So Tony Schiavone's taking that blue chew.
Speaking of shitty commentary, how much did it not sound like Tony Schiavone wanted to be commentating that pay-per-view come hour 3 or 4?
He was spent. Jim Ross sounded like he was asleep.
We got real slobbering. I love the moment when JR questioned Excalibur calling it a Liger bomb. He's like, no, what makes that a Liger bomb? It looks like a power bomb to me. And that was the moment I was done with commentary.
Yeah, it was raw. I'll take another mule. Give me some Crown Royal.
Jacksonville Beaches. Boomer Sooner.
What an asshole. Fuck him.
I love JR.
Tune in next week when Mark says her for 5 minutes straight.
I do that at work now. I go, her.
I believe that. Tony says here in the quote, I'm going to be the booker. I'll be bringing in young wrestlers, and they have a lot of young wrestlers. We're very successful here and doing very well.
This
here.
reads like fucking Donald Trump wrote this.
Dude,
what is this?
And I plan to continue to do
very successful here, doing well
here. I plan to continue to do very well with it and bring in wrestlers
that can work anywhere.
Do you want to do anything like that? I'm going to be the booker. I'm going to bring in young wrestlers. They have a lot of young wrestlers. We're very successful here. We're doing very well here. We plan to continue to do very well with it and bring in wrestlers that can work in Ring of Honor or AEW potentially. For continuity's sake, when you bring people in, other wrestling companies that have had multiple promotions under one corporate structure or one person, I don't think it's conducive to have people coming into an environment, say somebody who come here from there, and the whole thing that's been going on with them, I might not be behind it.
So, I mean, towards the end, the grammar got and
a little better.
Which got a little better than something Trump. I don't think Trump understands the word like conducive or environment.
Like if
he definitely doesn't know the word environment.
Yeah, yeah, ain't that the truth? He would probably say convulsive if he tried to say conducive. Jason says,
spot on.
Jericho will plan an insurrection of Harley.
Oh, Jason gets us.
He says Khan will be Benoit. Some people, if he keeps the drugs up. Look at that dude's eyes. Wow. So the question to the topic is, and Mrs. Big Jim still swears that intern Mark and Tony Schiavone are the same person.
I can't wait to get Tony Schiavone's action figure when they make one.
That's amazing.
They won't. Sorry,
they
Mark.
Shouldn't.
I think they are. They're working on it.
Well, you can buy one at Peace Collectibles if they do. $49.99.
They made 14 different versions of Cody Rhodes in the AEW series. Why can't they make it Tony Schiavone?
Well, that's true.
Well, for starters, one of them kind of owns
8-star general.
Speaking of action figures, I saw that they're making a Darby Allin LJN figure, like the hard plastic.
Really?
LJN.
Stupid.
They made one of Cody. I'm not sure if they made one of another one. If there was another release in a separate line, but I saw when they made their announcements this past weekend, I guess, that that Darby Allin is getting the LJN style figure.
It's a pushback. It was supposed to come out sooner, but it got pushed back.
Okay. But
now with those figures, like, do they?
Look at that! You got it.
They come with a skateboard, or do you have to like dig into your toy box and find your old tech decks and you pose them with?
They use a tech deck for sure.
Okay.
Cody does not.
Ryan, I could see you owning some tech decks.
Yeah, Smokey probably had some tech decks.
I could now that I
could never figure out how to do it.
Mark having multiple tech decks.
I have a Tamagotchi.
He was more of a fight guy.
You couldn't figure out the tech decks with the 2 fingers?
It was tough.
I knew like the 2 figures, but like the fucking tricks and shit. Beyond like,
you couldn't do a kickflip?
No, fuck that. Nope, couldn't do it. I also maybe tried like twice, but no. Maybe next time we're over, you have to break out the tech decks and we can try it.
Oh, I know what I'm getting for everyone's stocking next year at the
Christmas
party.
Like a tech deck and a yo-yo.
Sorry, holiday party, Devin. I'm sorry.
Holiday party.
Is Tony Khan doing too much?
Drugs, yes. Doing too much coke? 100%.
Yes, 100%. Terrible life choice. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. Is he doing too much by booking Ring of Honor as well? Do you think he should be letting somebody like? Because here's the thing. I think him to Ring of Honor would be similar to what I figured Vince probably was to NXT Black and Gold, where somebody else is running it, but you're aware of what's going on. Should Tony take more of that approach, or do you think that Tony's on the right track by taking full control, booking, and all of that for Ring of Honor?
You know what I always say? If old Bill Brown can run Saturday nights and Friday night fights, anybody can.
But that went horribly horrible, Ryan. It wasn't. Well, that I guess wasn't necessarily. That was more the court of Pennsylvania's fault.
Oh, it's his new toy. Let him play with it, and he'll tire out in a couple months, and somebody else will do it.
Or he'll just do more coke. Jason says, I don't think so. His booking of AEW can't take more than 28 minutes. Have you seen these shows? Man, because you'll have, I guess it depends too. What the TV model for Ring of Honor is going to be, or what point, you know, Jim. Like if it's going to be one day of taping, or like a couple of days of taping for a couple of months in the can, like they do with Dark Evolution, then I don't necessarily.
Would you run it that way, Jim? Do you like it in the can?
I mean, it's not my thing, but to each their own, I suppose. But
so like, did you like it in the can?
If you're going to do tapings every couple of months, every quarter, whatever, I don't know. Then it may not be a terrible idea, because then you can just line up your shows and knock them all out. But if you're going to do any sort of weekly, bi-weekly, live to tape, you know, like the old Raw model, then I think he may kind of wear himself out, tire himself out. It may be a little too much for Tony, but I think it can be smarter to I think it could be smarter to less is more, maybe, and have a different product too.
Do you think he partners with somebody, like a William Regal or somebody maybe that's not brought in yet, that's been in professional wrestling and knows the workings of professional wrestling? I don't know, like Shane McMahon.
Oh, maybe
the best in the world.
Maybe. I mean, he knows.
I mean, do you want to make Ring of Honor better than AEW? Then you bring in Shane.
You're not wrong.
All right, how much you paid Devin to agree with you?
About 3/4.
Sounds about right. Shane McMahon. Yeah.
Was that last one about ROH? What did Devin say?
I can see it ending badly with Ring of Honor and Tony Khan booking it if he decides to a live show on like something like HBO Max.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, you'd be doing live Dynamite, live and or taped Rampage, and then live and or taped Ring of Honor. I think.
How much is HBO Max? Is throwing? I mean, it would be for me, I guess. Throwing. I don't have it right now, but that would be worth it if AEW streams on there. I don't know. I guess all the old ROH content makes it worth it.
Yeah, and I think eventually you're either going to see an AEW network or you're going to see them do a Peacock-like partnership, which is the smart play. Jason says it's $5.99.
Oh,
really? Is that all
for HBO Max? Yeah,
free for me. It's included. You have AT&T.
Oh, I'm seeing plans start at $9.99 a month. Jason's got the good deal though.
Hey, no, I have AT&T. Do I get it for free, Matt?
And Devin says it's like $16 a month. So it's somewhere between $5.99 and $16 a month.
I don't think it's $16.
I'm seeing ad free is $14.99 ad free. Okay. So somebody's just overcharging Devin, which could be happening too. I don't know.
But Matt or Mark, do you think Tony should be the booker?
Look at that.
The booker man.
The 5-time champion.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think the more hands-off he is, the better it is for the product. Just don't want to stretch yourself too thin trying to run two companies. It just wouldn't make sense to me. Mark, I'm sorry if that upsets you.
Well, Matthew, I'll tell you what, I'm a little upset. But I think I'll be okay.
Good.
I'll be okay. I think he's got enough people there that can be a booker, that he doesn't need the book. Now, maybe he's going to want to book for a little bit, but I don't think it's going to last too long. So you got people like Arn Anderson, you got Tully Blanchard out there, you got Ric Flair, you got any number of people come in there and be a booker.
I think Tony should book over Ric Flair. I think Ric Flair booking would be an even worse plan.
I don't think Ric Flair.
If those are your options, then yes.
So here we go. HBO Max, $9.99 a month with ads, $99.99 a year. Without, with ads, you can pay for the year, $99.99. Ad free is $14.99 a month or $149.99 for the year. So you save a little bit if you just.
But free with AT&T, you're saying, Matt?
Correct.
What a deal!
That's good to know. What about that
your AT&T plan? Because I have AT&T, but it was an old employee account, so it's like a grandfathered account.
Oh,
so
the old grandfather account.
You can't get
grandfather still doing well.
But yeah, so we'll see. And like I said, I think it depends how the TV and the show structure is going to be for Ring of Honor. To think if that's going to make sense or not. And then finally, we'll wrap up with this. Tuesday night, Dolph Ziggler, of course, winning the NXT Championship.
We already talked about this.
From Braun Breaker. Do you like what does him, if anything, winning the NXT Championship from Braun Breaker mean? Like, does it mean anything for the brand? Does it mean anything for Braun Breaker? Does it mean anything for Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah, Vince sees dollar signs with Braun Breaker, apparently. Get him away from that garbage heap known as NXT 2.0 and get him up to the main roster as soon as possible, right?
I watched the last hour last week, and I didn't think it was as bad as people are selling it to be. Like, I don't. It's not okay. It is not anywhere close to what we've known NXT, the black and gold brand, is. But I really don't think it's not as bad as the reviews on the Twitters have made it out to be.
Now here's the deal, Jim. This is how I'm going to break it down for everybody. If professional wrestling, the way we like it, is known as goldfish crackers, This is the Wales equivalent to professional wrestling. That, yep, they are orange crackers in the shape of some sort of sea life, but it's not good, and you don't want to consume it. You'd much rather consume the other stuff. But if that's all that's option to you,
right,
you throw one in your mouth.
That's the only wrestling on Tuesday night. So if you
I'd rather not eat whales than eat whales.
I'd
rather not watch NXT.
Eat a Aquarius shaped cracker on Tuesdays.
Correct.
Do that. So the question is, who does this elevate? Basically, is that correct?
Yeah, like what does the title mean? So I guess you could look at it.
So does Dolph having this title make me want to watch NXT more? No. Does Dolph having this title make me think more of Dolph as a wrestler? No. Does Dolph beating Braun Breaker make me look at Braun Breaker differently? No. It's a flat no across the board. And that's nothing against Dolph. It's very much against Braun Breaker, who's the drizzling shits of a product, which is the drizzling shits. And now Dolph holds the belt for a drizzling shits company.
Intern Mark?
Fuck NXT.
Yeah. Matt's upset, but you know what? I agree with you, Matthew. It does absolutely nothing. I don't understand why they would put the belt on Braun Breaker, then bring in a main roster person to take it off him. It just does not make sense. It just,
not a lick of sense.
I think it just speaks to how bad NXT has become. It's terrible. You got that guy down there thinking he's a gangster, talking like he's a gangster. It's just terrible. The other weird-looking guy looks like Uncle Fester that wants to hug people. I'm so over it. It's terrible. There's a few bright spots. You got the women's division there is not too bad, and the Carmelo Hayes and a few of the other guys are pretty good, but it's not worth sitting through to see that.
I mean, that's kind of been the case for the longest time too with NXT. We've always kind of praised the women's division at NXT, and this is probably the least impressive crop we've seen in NXT for the women's division too. Like, it doesn't hold up to women's divisions we've seen in the past.
I mean, here's what I'll say about NXT, and I think Ryan and I were talking about this on Sunday. I think the problem was
there he is, Uncle Fester.
They chose.
Come on now, he follows us on Twitter.
They chose to make a switch. I think they just did it way too quick, and I think that's what the problem is, because you went from watching a show 1 week with a bunch of people that you knew and recognized and had been there forever, and the next week you tune in and it's Saved by the Bell, the new class. Like there was no buffer period. There was no like reason why 90% of the people that you were seeing were pretty much brand new.
Right. So they need to get to Saved by the Bell, the college years, where we know some people, and I know that's what they're trying to do.
I think it's kind of what they're
Dolph,
doing.
But I think it's too little, too late. Like they let Saved by the Bell, the new class, air for way longer than they should have, without saying, like, guys, we really fucked up and we need to get Zach and Kelly and Screech back, for the love of God.
But I think what they're doing here, and Balor said it in an interview. I don't know if it was on a podcast or what, but like NXT had kind of lost its identity. At some point along the way, NXT went from developmental to Triple H's super indie, and it was fantastic. I'm not complaining about the NXT black and gold years in any way, shape, or form, but like there was a point where it kind of lost the vision of developing new WWE superstars to, like, you know, for better or worse, I'm signing these people so other people can't have them, and I'm going to make like the biggest brand that I can out of NXT. Again, it was great, but I don't think it's necessarily sustainable in the long term for WWE. So
I think it absolutely was, though. I think that Vince just got a little upset that more people were clamoring for NXT than the main roster product, because all of us did that at one point. We were all very, very high on NXT and talking about how we looked forward to NXT more so than Raw and SmackDown. And I think Vince, like for all we say that Vince is tone deaf, he hears enough. And if enough people are talking about NXT and not enough talking about Raw, SmackDown, I think that's kind of where it came. Because then a lot of people
Vince
from
much. Because
maybe not so much.
He's making the money off of it.
Maybe not so much Vince, but to a lesser extent than like Nick. You know, they're going to look at this and say, this is the product that we need the eyes on. This is what we're spending the most money on. So we need to make this little guy be the little guy and not David in a David and Goliath, but we need to just crush this.
I mean, what an awful problem to have a developmental brand that had become a legitimate third brand that they could tour with and make money with. What an awful thing to have.
No, I'm
to destroy instead of just taking like no. This is more to like Brother Love comments of like it lost its way. Well, if it's going to lose its way, at least it lost its way to success. You know, why would you destroy something that was successful? Did it beat NXT or AEW in the ratings? No, it didn't. Whatever. It found its new home. You know, it was never going to beat AEW. Look at the money thrown into AEW. That is the A1 show, which is Raw or SmackDown for the WWE. It was always the third brand. But the third brand went toe-to-toe with the other guys, lost. And like I feel like that's what happened. I feel like Vince got mud on his face because his brand, the third one, lost to AEW, and that's why this needed dismantled and reassembled.
Yeah, and I think too, for whatever reason, whether it's in inability to realize how to book people, trying to change people too much when they came to the main roster, but there wasn't a ton of NXT black and gold talent that came to the main roster and were successful.
There was initially, though. I mean, initially we saw a lot of NXT black and gold people come and be successful.
Early black and gold, the horsewomen.
The horsewomen, the Shield coming up from that byproduct. I mean,
the Shield's almost like technically kind of pre.
At the same
I think
time,
that was like
it's pre NXT on the WWE network.
Like your third brand, if you want your third brand to be successful, you need to keep your Adam Coles on that third brand to keep it being successful. So you should have your third brand, and then 205 Live is your developmental, or I don't fucking know, the Performance Center should be your developmental.
But eventually people start going, well, when's Adam Cole coming up? When's the Undisputed Era coming up?
But I mean, you can say that, but we said that for the
black and gold. Leave them
on
black and
gold.
gold.
For the longest time, like with Gargano too. Like people kept saying, "Up, Gargano's losing this month because he's main roster call up." Didn't happen.
Yeah, I didn't want him to go to the main roster.
Right, you can.
Well, it happened to Braun. Or Breaker, I guess. So he'll be Breaker soon.
He'll be Breaker soon. But like, you know, and I think the I do think that the vision of what they're doing with NXT in terms of building like quote unquote WWE superstars long term now is going to work better for the main roster.
Do you think that though? Because I mean, what roster call-ups from NXT 2.0 are going to come that you're going to be excited about, like you were when Finn Balor came up, or like you were when Kevin Owens came up?
What about the Gabagool?
Like that, I think that's the issue with it. Like we can critique of when they came up, characters changed, names changed, etc. They're going to still do that, and the characters that they're bringing up aren't as already embraced as the ones that we're talking about from the past. So even now, like people were so excited about Balor coming up, and he went through some transitions. Owens went through some transition. Zayn did. The Horsewomen did. Like Big E. And everyone was still like, well, they were so great they had the following already. That when they came up, when these changes happened, people still stuck with them because they knew how good they already were. People aren't going to know that now. I feel like that's what we run into. So I don't feel like we're setting them up for more success. I feel like they're going to come up to just crickets. That would be my concern.
Possibly. I mean, I thought the way that they introduced Braun Breaker to the Monday Night Raw crowd was really smart. You put him in a match with a tag.
How did the Karrion Kross one go though?
Well, but he went from being fucking a badass dude with a hot chick to wait for your demolition. They didn't change Braun Breaker at all when they brought him in this week on Raw. They brought him in, they tagged him with Tommaso Ciampa, and he got a win over. He pinned Dolph Ziggler on Monday Night Raw. I thought it was a good introduction to the Monday Night Raw crowd. Because that's another thing to remember, too. 1.6 million people on a bad week watch Monday Night Raw. 300,000 people on a good week watch NXT. So, like, the people that are watching NXT, for the most part, are probably still watching Monday Night Raw. But if you present a character, a WWE star character, which Braun Breaker... Love the name, hate the name, like whatever. However you want to view it is fine. But like, and view it against the backdrop of NXT 2.0. But like, Braun Breaker, like, looks and feels like a WWE superstar. So, like, you bring him in and you present him in a way, like, I think you're fine. Like,
two things. One, I just noticed your shirt, and two, I feel like if you're going to do that, though, then, like, why not just make NXT its own thing? Not a developmental, but a third brand, and just let people do that shit at the performance level. Because then they can toy with characters, they can toy with whatever, and then you can see at Performance Center, this person has the character for Raw or SmackDown or NXT. Like, why have to make NXT a developmental thing at that point?
I mean, that I think has to do with
like your super indie company is going to get eyes like it was in the past if that's what you make it and that's what you brand it as. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that would be satisfied to stay in an NXT knowing that this is what NXT is. It's on the same level as Raw, SmackDown. When you have drafts, you can still draft people to NXT from Raw and SmackDown in the same regard. I feel like that would probably be best course of action if they're going to do that.
Possibly, and I do think that part of the reason the change happened is because they got egg on their face from going toe to toe on Wednesday nights and, by all perception, not beating them. Like, if you're looking at the grand scheme of things, WWE still beat AEW every week, but NXT didn't.
I feel like this is where ratings have to come into play. And I know we don't like to talk about ratings, but this is like your truest form of really seeing what it looks like. This is the last week of December, so December of the ratings, December 21st. This is NXT 2.0, had 591,000 viewers. The same week in December 2020 had 698,000. The same week in 2019 had 831,000. So between 2 years, and again, this is a big NXT 2.0 switch. They've lost 300,000 viewers. That's a large number.
It is a large number.
I think when you're
what's
looking
the Raw,
at like
SmackDown, and AEW numbers for 2020, 2021, and 2022, the same weeks?
We're not talking that.
But at the same time, though, Jim, I understand the point you're making, but then you have to compare Raw to Raw. You can't say, like, how is Raw doing versus NXT that week? Like, how is Raw doing this year versus Raw the next year?
But that's my point.
So like, do you think there's that big of a drop-off, though? I
the only reason I looked at this is because you said 300,000. So I thought the NXT ratings were actually that low.
Oh, I have no idea. I just
when
threw
you
out
said
the,
300, I literally believe that small amount of people are watching NXT.
I honestly haven't looked at ratings number. I couldn't tell you the last time I looked at ratings numbers. For
mean, they are low to mid 6 and high 500s on average. I would be curious. 590.
And we don't necessarily have to do them on this show, but I would be curious seeing a 300,000 viewer drop off from 2020 to 2022.
I mean, Control Your Narrative was pulling those numbers.
Ryan, that was 200, not 1,000.
Oh, just
you added too many zeros.
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad. That's on me.
That was a period, not a comma, my guy.
Oh shoot, that's on me.
But like, I would be curious to look at Raw over that same week for the year to year to year, and SmackDown year to year to year, AEW year to year to year, because I don't know if it's a product of that many people just aren't watching, and I think there is a large number of that, but like, is it also just a product of like less people are watching it live on standard television as well? Like I don't know. Maybe it's probably not the same number of drop, but I would venture a guess that all three of the other shows, Raw, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, had significant drops over that time as well. Devin says, what's your guys' opinion about having NXT Stand and Deliver in the same day as WrestleMania Saturday?
Makes me not want to watch Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, I have no interest in that for the first time in a very long time. Takeovers is usually good.
If I'm around, I mean, I don't know. We haven't discussed our 3-count plans for WrestleMania Saturday yet.
So Jim, I did just look at the numbers quick. 2019 Raw was 1.83, 2020 was 1.79, and 2021 was 1.65.
Okay, so what? It's about 200.
About 150
to 200,000. So not quite the 300,000, but it is a drop as well. And again, I think part of that is contributed to a lot of people tuned out of NXT. That is an undisputable fact. That
Before
people have
this week, Jim, when was the last time you watched NXT?
Couldn't tell you.
And I'm not trying to be a smartass, but
no,
I wish I cared.
I've said that throughout the fall on this show. Like, I mean, for a lot of weeks, I was doing Huddle Up on Tuesday nights, and I just, again, if I don't watch any wrestling show within a 24-hour period, I'm deleting it from my DVR. I've done it to Rampage, I've done it to SmackDown, I've done it to Raw.
Takeovers were always my exception. I would watch a takeover a day or two behind, even if I knew the outcomes, because I knew it was going to be good wrestling.
Takeovers were the not miss show for the longest time for all of us.
They were, for years.
And if you want to watch wrestling done right,
and and I'm like, that was kind of the snob. That's as snobby as we all got. Like
it really
we didn't bash any other wrestling, but we held NXT to that higher standard. And now it's kind of on the level of an Impact. Like, I watch NXT less than I watch Impact Wrestling. As crazy as that is to say.
I've definitely watched more NXT 2.0 than Impact.
Well, I know you have, because it's a WWE product.
But... Well, Impact's on Thursday. We do the show.
If he doesn't watch it within 24 hours,
I just don't want. I don't watch it. I don't have the time. I'm sorry. I don't have the time to go back. That has nothing to do. I do the same thing with Raw and SmackDown.
Well, it's easier with Impact because I can watch it on YouTube.
But like, depending what WrestleMania Saturday looks like for me, if I'm around and not doing anything, yes, I'll check out Stand and Deliver. It's not going to be
like we're usually carb loading when that's on, aren't we? It's just
So I mean, I'm sure we'll be getting together at somebody's house for both WrestleMania days. But yeah, I'll say that it's not going to be appointment TV for me.
Be on in the background,
on in the background, and maybe maybe something like that is what it might take for me to actually like pay a little bit more attention. If something on
WrestleMania,
the 2nd and 3rd of April.
Okay, that's what I thought.
If something on that show grabs my attention, then maybe I'll be more apt to check it out on Tuesday Night Live or on the DVR.